Well, hi everyone, and welcome back to Adam's Fishing after what I know has been a very long break, for which I do apologise. You joined me on this Tuesday morning, this glorious Tuesday morning, in my back garden. If you're picking up some road noise, I do apologise. I live right on a busy main road, and as I say, it's about 9:30, so traffic's probably at its worst at the moment. But I am trying out something new here. It's a lav mic, which I've got clipped to my jumper, and it's wirelessly connected to my phone, and hopefully it's just improving the audio quality of this little video clip and will improve the quality of some of my other clips when I'm fishing. I have noticed that when I catch a fish and I'm holding one up and talking to you guys, sometimes the audio is very, very quiet because obviously I'm that much further away from my phone mic. Whereas I thought if I use this, hopefully you'll pick up what I'm saying more clearly, and you won't have to keep fiddling with the volume when you're watching the video. That's the theory anyway. So yeah, it has been a long break since my last video. I do apologise. I know I've mentioned it before in the video, but I do have a health condition which sometimes just wipes me out, and that's been the case for the last couple of months really. I have managed one fishing session between the last one that I posted on YouTube here and this video, and that was with my mum. I took my mum out for a day's fishing. It was really nice, however I was really gutted because we didn't catch any. We completely blanked, and it was just one of those things. The fish just were not up for it. It was quite cold and it just wasn't happening. So I really wish I could have got some video footage of that session though, because Mum's a real character and I'm sure you would have enjoyed it, but she really didn't want to do any filming or be on camera or be on YouTube. I totally understand that, so we didn't do any filming then. But I am doing some filming now, and that's because I've got the week off work. As leave. I'm not feeling too bad. I don't feel 100%, I'm not feeling too bad, and the long-suffering wife has agreed to let me out for a day session tomorrow. So what am I going to do? I'm going to hit the quiet lake. I'm going to be using those helicopter LED setups which I tested out on my last video on the smaller lake, which worked really great, and hopefully they'll do the job in combating the deep silt on the quiet lake. My only slight reservation is that the quiet lake might not be that quiet tomorrow. I'm actually expecting there to be other anglers on, which sometimes is a bit difficult for that lake because it's very small and there's not really that many decent fishable swims. But hopefully, if I get down there early enough, I can secure my spot and have a nice day fishing. Hopefully in the sun. It has been glorious weather for about the last week actually. It's coming up to the end of March, and it's just going to be really great to get out there. Not ideal carp fishing conditions. You know, they don't like middle of the day, they don't like the sun right above them, they don't like completely clear skies. So I've got a few things going against me. Not that I'm trying to get my excuses in too early. I really hope I can put a fish on the mat. It's not the easiest lake, certainly not, but I really hope that if I get my traps out there, sit back and be quiet and just chill and take in the surroundings, hopefully one of those alarms will burst into life and I might just catch something. I'll settle for absolutely anything. I know it's my mirror mission, but I'd be happy to catch anything, to be honest. So yeah, that's the plan for tomorrow morning. I've done some tinkering in the shed, got some bait ready, got my rods ready, or my rod bag ready I should say. Had to swap a few things around because I was float fishing when I went with Mum, so different kit. But swapped a few things around, and I think I'm ready to go now with just a rucksack, a chair and a rod bag, and just have a nice day out in the good weather for once, and getting some fish. You might have just seen Charlie the dog walk past me there. He unfortunately doesn't get to come fishing with me because my club doesn't allow dogs, which is a real shame, but I do totally understand. But anyway, that's it for this little intro. Join me in the morning at the quiet lake, and hopefully we can have a good go at catching a fish. Well, hi everyone, and welcome to the swim. It's the day after my first bit of recording in my garden. I'm now down the lake. When I arrived, there was one other car in the car park, and there's a guy bivvied up in the first swim. Obviously done at least last night. He might have done longer. I don't know. His car looked pretty frosted up, so definitely been there all night at least. I didn't get to speak to him. I guess he was having a kip or something like that, because no, there was no movement, so I don't know how he's got on. But although I probably would have preferred to go a little bit closer to that end of the lake today, because it's got the early sun on it, I didn't really want to interfere with whatever he's doing or what he's got going on, so I thought I'd come a little bit further down. I'm about halfway down the lake in my old favourite swim, actually, as it turns out. I haven't seen any signs of carp necessarily, but it's early days yet, and you can see I've got this nice island behind me, and I've got a little spot that I tend to try and fish just off of the edge of the island here, and I think I'll put another one just down in front of the island here, so just very short casts, which is quite nice really. And I think what I'm going to do is just set a couple of traps on those helicopter rigs and pop them out there. I'm in two minds as to what to go for in terms of the rig. I definitely want to use at least one of my old favourite snowman rigs because I've got that confidence in it. But I'm thinking on the second rod, I might just whittle down a pop-up and try one of the Ronnie rigs, just so that I've got a little bit of both worlds out there really, and see if either one does me a bite. As I say, I don't think there's loads of fish out there at the moment. Or if there are, they're having a snooze. So give me a chance to get set up properly, and then I'll catch up with you again. All right then guys, well it didn't take long to get everything in position, which is great. It's an absolutely beautiful morning, honestly, it's lovely. As I said yesterday, probably not ideal carp fishing conditions, but just really nice day to be out on the bank anyway. So I'm going to grab a couple of leads and clip them on to my helicopter lead setups that I've got there. Just have a little flick out. As I've said before, it's remarkably silty and choddy here, so I just want to have a little feel around just to check that I'm not casting directly into a sunken bush or something like that. And then just probably just clip up so that I can get back to exactly where I want to each time I cast, and use a little bit of marker elastic as I tend to, so that I can obviously pop that clip back on before casting each time. I'm not expecting a lot of casting on this session, to be honest. I think I'm going to get my stuff out there, get my rigs out there, and then it's probably just going to be a case of sit back, chillax, and wait and see. But yeah, first things first, just going to reach into my bag here, get my little tackle box, and I've got a few leads in here that I can use. I don't think the fish are particularly fussy about the lead, but there's a little 2.5 ounce pear lead there, and it's got some kind of texture on it, which is quite cool. So yeah, I think I'll use a couple of those, have a little flick around, and see if I can work out exactly where I want to position my hook baits. Okay, well it actually took a few more casts than I would have liked to get that first spot on my left hand side, just off of the corner of the island there. It's close to the island. It's locking up a little bit when I'm pulling back, so I'm guessing there's quite a lot of sort of like heavy chod there. So I'm stepping away from the island a little bit further than I perhaps wanted to, but that's okay. And yeah, it is still very silty there, and not exactly clear, but it's you know, it's a reasonable pullback, I would say. My fishing contact Lee, who's fished here and had some quite good success, said that when he was using a helicopter setup here, he set the top bead about 3 feet from the lead, which sort of makes sense. It gives that lead a nice chance to really bury down into the silt and the chod and stuff. So I'm going to slide that bead up quite a long way. Now you can't actually see it, just goes slightly off camera there, but so I've got probably a good 3 feet there now, and you can see my little quick change ring swivel there, just sliding up and down the main line. That's what my rig is going to be attached to. I think I'll go for my old favourite snowman rig on this one, and cast it out there. Just let things settle for a little while, and then maybe consider putting some bait in. It has been quite warm over the last week, as I said, so I'm hoping the fish will be a little bit more active than they have been, because we had quite a cold start to the year. So hopefully they've woken up a bit and we'll actually be looking for some food. So I'll put a bit out, but still not go mad at this time of year. But yeah, there's the rig anyway. You can see I use one of these sort of buffer sleeve jobbies down this end, where I've got a little quick change clip which my lead is attached to, and you can see it's got this tapered rubber sort of attachment to the main line here, which protects the main line. If you're pulling against a fish, you can see that rubber protects the main line from the ring of my swivel there, which is good. And then if I just move the rod back a smidge, Should hopefully be able to get in shot the other bead. I suppose I could have just slid it back down, couldn't I? But yeah, there's the other bead. You can see the central core is kind of like a stopper really, which is just threaded up the main line, and it's got this sort of easy release bead on top, which pops off under really quite little pressure, which makes it a safe rig in that the fish could get rid of any main line that it was attached to if I were to have a crack off or break off or something like that. But yeah, that's the setup in terms of the lead. I'll show you briefly the snowman rig before I cast it out, although if you've watched before, I'm sure you've seen it before. Get this one cast out and then work on the right hand rod, which is going to be just off the front face of the island here, right in front of me. Little underarm flick for that one, I think. Okay then guys, I have just flicked out the right hand rod as well. I didn't film it because you don't really want to see me just underarm flicking half a dozen times, but that's what I did. And it's not clear out there by any means, but I think I've found a clear-ish spot pretty much right in front of me, but I've had to step away from the island a bit further than I sort of wanted to. I always imagine in my mind that the fish want to get right in there and rooting around, you know, right underneath the island, which is probably true, but I just don't think that I could present a bait there properly, really. So I've had to step it back a little bit, but it really is just an underarm flick. It's right in front of me. So I'll have to sit back from the lake's edge, which I'm going to anyway, and just keep quiet, which I intend to anyway. I'll probably fall asleep actually because I'm shattered. But yeah, I've got my rods clipped up, so I know where I'm going to be fishing. It's now time to sort out the rigs, and if I just move this down, hopefully you can see. Yeah, I'm working out of the rucksack, and got my micro barbed rig wallet here. I think I am going to try one of these Ronnie rigs on the right hand rod. So I'm just going to get that ready. I'll show you how that looks just now. So here's my my Ronnie rig. Anyway, it's one of these swivelly fang gyro hooks that that Nash do in a size 7. I use a little bait screw there on the hook shank, and there's just a bead on the hook to stop it. I've got one of these special sinkers, which is designed for the job, I think, butts right up against the swivel here at the end, and just a short length, probably, I don't know, 6 to 8 inches of end trap, semi-stiff, just because that's what I had. I know you're probably meant to use a stiffer material than that, but yeah, I've got a little anti-tangle sleeve and a figure-8 loop knot at the end there, and that's going to be my right hand rod, I think. What I will do is just attach a pop-up. I've got a pink washed out pink krill pop-up. That's the only type I've got at the moment today. I'm going to pop that on there. I'm just going to whittle it down so that it balances out right, so that that hook is just wafting above the lake bed. So I'll sort that out in just a sec. But yeah, that's going to be on the right hand rod. The left hand rod is going to be the old favourite snowman rig, which those who watch regularly will have seen before. But basically, let's go from this end first. Starts with a figure-8 loop knot there and an anti-tangle sleeve. About 8 inches, I would guess, of end trap semi-stiff, which is stripped about 1 centimetre before the hook. Then I've got, knotless knotted on, a size 7 Nash Fang X hook, and I have a little bit of silicone on the shank of the hook, just so that I can position the exit of the hair from the back of the hook as I want it. And then I've got a longish hair there that I can attach my snowman bait to, and I attach just a little tiny float stop there, gummy float stop, which I butt up against the bottom bait to keep the baits nicely pinned together on the hair. So that's going to be my left hand rod. Alright guys, let me show you these baits just very quickly before I cast them out there. That's going to be the right hand rod. That's the Ronnie rig with a slightly whittled down, washed out pink krill pop up. Originally a 16mm bait, but trimmed down a bit. So that's going to be on my right hand rod just out in front of me, and left hand rod is one of these. Yeah, you've seen it before. It's the old snowman rig there. I have a little Manila 10 mil, or is it 12 mil? 12 mil I think, pop up here, and a 15 mil Candy Nut Crush bottom bait on there. Has caught me fish before on this lake actually, this combination. So relatively confident with that. But what I am going to do is just thread on a little mesh bag just to protect just to protect the hook point. This is the one that's going out a little bit further, still not a long cast, but a little bit further on my left hand side off the corner of the island. So I'm just going to thread on one of these. I'll just pull the hook point down into that bag, and then I just know that it won't have fouled on anything on its way down to the lake bed. That's the plan anyway. So I'm going to cast these both out now. I'm going to try to use the head cam to capture that, and then hopefully sit back, chill, have a cup of coffee, and then plan my next move. All right, guys. Well, there's the bait ready to go out. Let's hope I get this cast right first time, and that I don't end up stuck in the tree. Just about perfect. Sink that line. That's one rod fishing. Okay guys, hope this is coming out. There's rod number 2, my pop-up bait ready to go out. This one really is just an underarm flick. Line sunk. Okay, I'm fishing. Well, it feels good to have baits in the water, that's for sure. After not doing any proper fishing for a long time now, it's just really nice to be back down by the lake and actually doing it, you know, just getting hands on with the gear, and just feeling like I'm an angler again, is a really nice thing. But you know me, I can't resist putting out a few free offerings when I've got hook baits out there. So it's only been 10 minutes since I cast out, and I was getting itchy feet thinking, oh, I really need to put some bait out there. So that's what I'm going to do. So I've got here, let me just move this down so you can see, because it fits nicely, collapses down, fits nicely in my rucksack. I've got my little collapsible bait bucket here, and this bag of boilies also fit in the rucksack, which is quite nice. What I'm going to do is just a few handfuls in the bottom of the bag, oh, sorry, the bottom of the bucket I should say. And I'm going to put those out over the top of my my casts, which I should be able to do by hand. I don't think I even need the catapult for this. But what I'm going to add, some of this lovely cloudy manila liquid to give them a nice pungent smell, and hopefully put a little bit of flavour in and around the area where I'm fishing. These are predominantly candy nut crush boilies, guys, because that's what I had in the shed. There's a few crab and krill and coconut creams mixed in there for good measure, but mainly it's the candy nut crush ones. And you can see once they're all mixed up, they get this nice glaze on them, and that liquid is really thick and gloopy, and it really does kind of stick to the baits. You know, my hope is that when I chuck them out there and they descend to the bottom of the lake, some of that still hangs around in the swim. I know that perhaps I should have soaked these in this glug overnight, or for like 24 hours, even more maybe. But then I would have needed to have brought a bucket with me, and you know, that's just one more thing to carry, and I really wanted to keep it light and simple today. So I'm going to chuck these out, hopefully get them right where I need to, right on the rigs, and then shut up for a while, kick back, have a cup of coffee and wait. Don't know if you can see those ripples, guys, but that is where a fish just rolled. And if I zoom out a little bit, you can hopefully see that it's not very far from where I'm fishing. So that has given me a little bit of hope. Weather is fantastic at the moment. Only been fishing for about 40 minutes. So to see signs of a fish now is really heartening. Well, you may be able to tell that the sun has moved a bit since I last updated this video, and that's because I've been fishing for quite a long time actually. Coming up for 6 hours of angling with these baits in those positions. I haven't changed anything or done anything. I did fall asleep for a little bit, I'll be honest, but nothing has happened except for a single bleep on my left hand rod, which was not long after I spotted that fish roll off to the left there. So that got the old heart racing and got me leaping out of my chair for a moment, but nothing came of it, unfortunately, and nothing else has happened to give me any indication that there are fish feeding or anything like that. I have had a little walk up and down the bank and kept my eyes on the water to see if there is anything to potentially move on to. But no, nothing that really made me want to up sticks and try somewhere else. So I did say I'd be home for dinner today. It is now 3:30. So, you know, I've got a bit of time and I'm really enjoying being out here. It's just been such a lovely, pleasant day. The temperature is just perfect. It's not too hot. It's certainly not cold. And the birds have just been singing all day. It's just really delightful to be out here and doing a bit of fishing. Would it be a lot better if I'd actually caught something by now, of course, but hey, that's the way it goes. Being back down here for this session has certainly whet my appetite, I should say, given me a taste for fishing this lake again and getting back into it. I hope I can do a lot more of it over the coming months. And I hope that my tactics, you know, using these helicopter-led setups and fishing hopefully on top of the silt, or near to it, will pay off and will actually produce me a fish. I'm not sure if it's going to happen on this session, given how quiet it's been. I'm not massively confident, I must say, but then you do have to be in it to win it. And I have fished through sort of the toughest part of the day, I would say, which is sort of like, you know, through the middle of the day, when carp fishing, I find, is never really that productive. It has, as I say, it's just been great to be out here. And listen to those birds, isn't that fabulous? So I'm going to have one more walk up and down just to see if I can see anything. If not, I'm going to stick with this. I'm not going to put any more bait out or anything like that. I've had no indication that there have been fish feeding in my swim. So I just think piling more bait in is not the one. Maybe it's just waiting for a passing, cruising fish to spot those baits that are already out there, tip down and start having a feed, and that would give me the bite that I need, hopefully, if they come across my hook bait, that is. Anyway, for now, quick mosey up and down the bank here, good look at the lake with my polarizing glasses on, which are on top of the chair behind me, and see if I can see anything that's worth moving on to, and then we'll reconvene. Guys, there are a couple of fish sunbathing just a couple of swims down that way. It's really shallow there. All right, guys, I hope this is coming out. I hope you're getting this in my little collapsible bucket here. I've just got a handful of boilies, and I'm going to now take you down, keeping very quiet, to the swim where I saw these fish on the surface. They weren't big carp, but I am pretty confident they were carp. Oh, here's one. Hoping you can see that where I'm pointing there. That's a carp. And we come up here a little way, up onto the point here. There's another just here. And there may be more than one there, but I can definitely see one. And you can see that too. I'm going to try just underarming a boilie out there. I can't see that fish anymore. Oh, yes I can. It's just moved a little bit further back in the swim and is now just heading off to my right. He certainly hasn't started racing towards those baits with any intention of feeding, I don't think. But hey, that's not a bad fish actually. It's not a bad sized fish. At the moment I'm just talking about two carp sunbathing, and sunbathing, as you guys know, is very different to feeding. And whilst I'm worrying about that and chasing those two, they could easily be feeding fish in my swim. So it is actually quite a tough one. Although I know some of you will say always move on to sighting a fish. Just disturbed a fish down here in the margins, and there's one on the surface just here. Okay, that is practically in my swim, guys. So I'm just very slowly gonna come back to my chair, and I think I'm gonna stop racing around all over the place. And I've just seen a carp right over my right hand rod. Now, all thoughts of moving have just gone out of my head. The fish obviously have just started moving around a bit, having been quite still for the rest of the day. And now I've seen those fish in my swim, my heart is pounding. I'm not thinking about moving anymore, just thinking about one of those alarms roaring into life. Whew, that's exciting. Right, fingers crossed. I'm going to sit tight and see what happens. I've got traps out there. There's no disturbance apart from me yammering on, and I think this is probably my best shot at catching one. I think if I go and cast at those sunbathing fish down to my left, I'm just going to spook them and I'm going to end up chasing my tail. I think setting the traps and waiting is the better option. Just have a look at this, guys. Does this look carpy or what now? The sun's just dipping behind the trees on the far bank, and it just looks spot on, especially as I saw a fish just, you can see where my finger is, just off the edge of the screen there where my finger is. I saw a fish just drifting this way, and then it disappeared, and my right hand rig is here and my left hand rig is out there. And yes, I did see a couple of fish that way, but I've also seen a fish here. So I think they're just starting to show themselves, which actually means they're probably you know, up in the water at the moment, enjoying the warmer layers of the water. But the fact that I've seen a few means they're not a million miles away and gives me hope. So keep those crossed that one of these alarms bursts into life. God, it'd just be amazing to catch one today. After such a fab day, a nice carp would just be the icing on the cake. Well then, guys, this is quite obviously a different session and a different location. I'm not even on the same lake, but I just wanted to show you this fish, so I was at least holding one up for the camera in this video. I'm sorry I haven't been out fishing a lot lately, life's got in the way, but I've caught this lovely, nearly 10-pound common carp. It's sort of mid-April and I'm chuffed to bits with that. Hopefully I'll be able to get out fishing a bit more in the near future, but I just don't know. So I'm just pleased to have had a bend in the rod, to be honest. Thanks so much for joining me, and hopefully I'll catch up with you again soon. All the best. Well guys, I couldn't leave without showing you this one as well. Just over 12 pounds, an absolute beauty of a common, made up with that perfect mouth. It was absolutely nailed, using the same techniques that you saw me using on the Quiet Lake, this one on the Snowman rig, and an absolute pearler, beautiful fish. Let me quickly show you the other side of her. And there she is, lovely proportioned fish, packed with muscle and a pleasure to catch. Absolutely brilliant, made up with that. Let's slip this one back.